hottest show in the galaxy. It is Karen Hunter on the... No, I want to say TV, but no, we're on the radio. That doesn't rhyme. That's okay. You know, listen, rapping is
on
not...
the MIC.
See, that's why you are who you are, and I just sit here talking about nuclear war every day. Let me welcome to the show. She's an actress. You may see her recently on Insecure, second season. She plays Tiffany. Mm-hmm. But I remember sitting on a panel with you talking about hip-hop when you were a hip-hop artist back in the day, and then you became an activist. And I think you were always an activist even when you were doing hip-hop, because you were always outspoken in that space talking about empowerment and things like that, which I thought was great. Awesome. Your interview with the Breakfast Club, fire, spitting all yeah, see?
Thank
you came in with that.
Because Karen hit me with you do music or something. Like, what do you do? Yeah. And that as an interviewer, as a former interviewer, I'm like,
yeah, go ahead.
Research.
Don't play with me. You better research who you talking to. Welcome to the show, Miss Amanda Seales.
But can I make a correction?
What? You weren't on what?
I actually consider myself a comedian who acts.
I know, but I didn't want to do that because
why? There's a difference. Actresses are a different kind of crazy.
That is true. Mm-hmm. That is true. But your comedy though is not like that silly comedy. It's that you know, it's like, oh shoot, I just had to think about that.
But that needs to be regarded just as much as silly comedy is comedy.
I get it, but when we talk today about women comedians, right? It's usually some silly buffoony type. No disrespect, but you know, it's like that.
But it's because not enough women who do the type of comedy that I do are given respect as comedians.
Well, I'm going to respect you then as a comedian because I was trying not to disrespect you by elevating you in this other way, right?
No, comedians are powerful, man.
I know. Well, we just launched a show this past couple of weeks with Godfrey. Yeah, Godfrey, you should be on it. So it's called the Power Hour, and we got some little people saying, "Oh, you got a comedian on." I was like, "Really? Have you listened to the show? You will get your face broken."
Yeah.
Man, call up. I dare you. Like I'm daring people. Please call him with some bull crap and see what happens. I don't care if you have a PhD or if you have a master's degree. Godfrey will slay you.
He'll come for you. He will.
He will come to your house. Mm-hmm. Like he's that gangster.
That's my dude.
I love him too.
Love you, Godfrey.
So we appreciate, and this is something we talked about. You know, from Richard Pryor to Carlin, comedians have been in many ways the truth sayers and the soothsayers of society. And we need that. It's not about the comic relief. It's about digging in that ass.
Yes. Yeah. And like comedians, I mean, that's why so many comedians are depressed, because we see so much. We see it all. Like we're always analyzing and watching things to figure out where's the funny. Find the funny. And when you're just hyper aware and there's so much BS that you're shifting through, it's like it can be a bit much.
So tell me your story, Amanda. What BS did you sift through that made you depressed to become a comedian? Like, what was your journey to becoming a comedian?
I mean, my journey it's not like I grew up reading by candlelight or, I didn't suffer from addiction. I mean, I have the classic, like, my daddy wasn't around. Like, I have the good old-fashioned classic tale. Single mother, raised by a single parent. But I think my journey was just more so what is actually, I feel like a lot of people's journey is that, like, I didn't really go through like a big traumatic thing. I just was trying to figure out who I was and what my purpose is. And a lot of times like those folks get left in the shuffle because people think like if you don't have this big trauma, your story is like irrelevant.
Right.
Like,
what, you weren't in a
right.
You weren't in a shelter? Right. Yeah.
You didn't survive a plane crash. Why do we care?
Right.
And so for me, it was just like I was in the entertainment business for a long time. I was on Nickelodeon when I was 12 on My Brother and Me. I went to Performing Arts High School in Orlando. Shout out to Dr. Phillips High School, the home of like Wayne Brady. And there's a number of us who went to Dr. Phillips High School. And I went to SUNY Purchase for undergrad. I ended up leaving the acting conservatory there to create my own major. It was a Black Studies major. And then I went to Columbia for grad school for African American Studies. And then I just stayed in New York and I became a host here at Sirius. I worked here for 4 years. I was a VJ on MTV. And then around 2005, I lost my job at MTV, which I found out on the Breakfast Club interview was because Jay-Z got me fired.
What?
Who knew?
What'd you do to Jay-Z?
Apparently, I asked him for his phone number and to do a verse on one of my albums, none of which ever happened. So I don't literally, I found this out 2 days ago.
So he called management and said, "This girl just trying to get."
I don't know if it was him.
Get me to
I don't necessarily
want his
when
management
I say
people or something.
When I say Jay-Z got me fired, I don't necessarily mean like he made the call, but like an interaction with him is what somebody used to get me fired from MTV. I literally just found this out 2 days ago. All this time, it's been a mystery to me. But from there, you know, I was
because I've been fired a couple of times, and it's painful, you know, because you do all of this self-reflection. Because I'm self-reflective, and I think you are too. Where you're like, what did I do? Mm-hmm. And you can't come to any reasonable conclusion about why you got fired. It haunts you.
It's the same thing as a breakup.
Yeah, it haunts you. What did I do? How did I? You know, did that follow you for a minute? Did you?
Oh my God, I went into a whole depression, and I was 25, which is like good. It's worst. Like the ripe. Yeah. It's just like a really ripe depression age.
Right. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and I had also like my goals were to be an MTV VJ and to get my master's, and I had done both. So then it was just like, well, what now?
Life is good. Right.
And so that was like a really rough year, and then I remember like waking up after New Year's and was just like, okay, we're done with that. Let's figure this out. And I was like, you know what? When you lose your way on a path, just go back to the beginning. The beginning was poetry. I started doing
spoken word.
Yeah,
that's right.
Started doing spoken word. I was on Def Poetry Jam when I was in college, and so I just went back to the New York and started doing spoken word again. And there was a band there, and I could never rap on beat. Okay, like it was the bane of my existence. It was literally like I could feel like the slave master blood that was left over. Like that's how it was rearing its ugly head. Yes. Yeah. And I was like, damn you. And I that night, like something clicked. And I could rhyme. Like I was doing my poem. I was like, oh my God, I'm on beat. This is crazy. I'm kicking the heat. And like I just could spit. And the musicians, like after, they were like, oh, you know, we should record something. So then I started doing music.
So wait, time out. Before that, you were just a poet.
I was just a poet
speaking, and people were snapping, and it was wonderful because you had no rhythm. So
correct.
Right. But you didn't say that. You were like, I'm spoken word.
Well,
and
then I fell into spoken word.
Right. But I think that's fascinating. So then I was like, I can rap.
I was like,
Eureka.
Yes.
Oh my God. We're talking with Amanda Seales. You can see her on Insecure. I just was saying something about Insecure yesterday about the condoms not being worn, or at least y'all not.
This is like a whole thing.
Yeah, I know. But I'm like, can they just rip the condom, just throw it, and just have a condom package somewhere so that we know that safe sex with Usher running around? We got to be safe, Amanda. We got to be safe. It could happen.
I'm so tired of this Usher conversation as if 90% of the population don't have herpes. I really need people to stop.
No, I rebuke that. 90% of the population does not have herpes. It's not true. Oh my gosh, she's quiet. Who are you hanging out with? 86680.
People with facts.
Okay, so 90% of the people.
I mean, there's different types of herpes. You know, shingles, herpes 1, herpes 2, all of these things. I mean, chickenpox is herpes.
Are we going to be like okay with that?
It's not about if it's okay, but it's what it is. I mean, and then you work with that. But are we gonna keep a stigma going by creating falsehoods? And the reality is also this: there's real things to be afraid of, and I feel like a lot of times, especially in the Black community, we create fear around things that we haven't done full education on.
All right, so herpes, HIV,
they're not the same thing. They shouldn't even be mentioned in the same conversation.
Well, in this way, that neither one of them have a cure. So
one of them is deadly.
One is deadly.
One is not.
One is not. But do you want to have something that you can't cure when it's preventable?
No, but it's not the same thing. And the only way to prevent it is really to just be making sure that the person you're sleeping with doesn't have it. And as far as I'm concerned, if you are not making sure that someone doesn't have STDs by making sure that you both get tested, then you are proceeding at your own risk. And that's what women...
Should we not put that out? I mean, because I think to ignore it or to not have the discussion or to not stigmatize it, because I think I remember my dad, when I was growing up, my dad would say to me, you know, he grew up in a household where the word bastard was a big thing. Like he didn't want any bastards. He didn't want us playing with. Yeah, exactly. Right. And I was thinking that's unfair because nobody asked to come here and they didn't have, you know, but in his mind, if I put this out there, then, you know, this has to be something we consider. And there's no more shame with people. And now it's not a thing because 70% of black folk are born out of wedlock. Nobody cares. But I don't want this to become a thing where we're okay with STDs and people not testing themselves and not being
I didn't say
careful.
anything
No,
like
I
that.
know, but I think we should have a discussion about it and we should put it out however it comes out.
Absolutely.
However it comes out. It's not something we should just say, okay, so to have condoms in Insecure, would that take away from the content?
No, I don't think it would take away from the content. I just think that I can speak as someone who is a content creator, that when you're coming from an artistic place, like, sometimes you do miss the mark on the things that happen in real life because you're creating from your fantasy. You're creating from a dream space, right? So, you know, in that space, I really honestly feel like I wouldn't be surprised if it never occurred to Issa because it's not a part of the story. Like, that's the shit that happens like in real life when we're having sex, but this is a TV show and it's not real life. And so you kind of skip over, you miss some of those things. Have you ever, in any movie or TV show, have you ever seen a woman go and wipe herself off with a wash rag after sex? Because all of us do it. And if you're not, you should. All of us. Have you?
It just got real. I'm thinking
have you
Halle
ever?
Berry and no, I'm just playing.
Never.
No.
And you do it because if you've definitely had sex with a condom, the latex can mess up your pH balance and it can give you a bacterial infection or it can give you a yeast infection. And all you need to do is to take a warm wash rag, no soap, and wipe it down. But you never see that. But that is basic women's health and hygiene. But it doesn't factor into the mystique of the story. And so, on the other hand, I completely understand people being like, oh my God, we have a black show that can speak to black issues. And so we want to make our best attempt at talking to all these masses that are watching it. But what I say to that is, so often we put everything for black folks on the shoulders of like one thing.
Because we don't have enough.
We don't have enough.
So,
that's the root.
The goal is to have more. But in absence of that, I was just talking about Diamond and Silk before you came here, and some guy called up and was like, "How dare you? They're entrepreneurs." And I'm like, "But that's
Who are Diamond and Silk?
Diamond and Silk, they're Trump
from the
supporters."
Players Club?
Oh, see, now they're all right. They're Trump supporters. Two women. They're on YouTube.
Oh, them fools! I can't even.
Right. So
coons.
That's all. So I'm saying you're representing a caricature of black women that I can't sit and abide by, right? So
it's harmful
when they have very limited images, and Issa Rae has done a wonderful job on HBO. And you being there, what was that process? How'd you end up on the show as Tiffany?
I auditioned.
Okay, she was like, I just got the role because I was good.
Well, it was, you're doing 4 auditions. It is very nerve wracking. Let me tell you, it's even more nerve wracking to audition for people you know than people you don't know, because they're trying to be professional and you're trying to be professional, but both of y'all know that you know each other, and I remember the second audition for Insecure was in a room smaller than this one, which anyone who's listening, like, we're not in a really big room. It was like in the room the size of a closet, and they were all crammed up and it was hot. And I had on like all peach because that was like what I felt Tiffany would do. She would just matchy match. And the chemistry test, I remember the person who went in before me, she went in the room and all I heard was, "Hey, yes!" And I was like, oh, I'm not going to book this because
they're all
best friends.
Right.
That's not going to happen. But I did.
And you are doing,
and it's a blast.
It is, and you're wonderful. It's a groundbreaking show. We love it.
Thank you.
I wish there were condoms. HBO's Insecure.
Well, good thing we have a season 3, so we can implement them. Then.
Are you on?
Yes.
Oh, give me some.
Hey.
Give me some. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love
sis.
everything that you're doing. You're an inspiration, powerhouse. Love you, Amanda Seals. You can check her out. And just Google search. We tweeted out all the information.
Go to Instagram.com, Amanda Seals, y'all.
You got to get out of here. They're saying somebody. Sandman Sims is coming with the thing. Come on, y'all. Thank you for being here. 866-801-8255. Thank you so much.